So welcome back, Cheap S63, and today we're going to tear into the motor. We're going to get the heads off. So here we are. The whole front is pretty much stripped. Thermostat, water pump, the oil filter housing. I just have everything, and the secondary air injection. Just have everything on this kit, all the parts, everything laid out. And we're going to see if we can't get these things cleaned up because they are a little bit dirty. So what we're going to do today, we're actually going to pull the heads, and I'm going to show you the process, the tools you're going to need, and the order it has to be done. Everything's got to be specific on this motor, or you'll ruin it. You know, they're only 5 to 10 grand used anyway. So we're going to get to work on this bad boy. Okay, so these are just two of the essential tools that you're going to need. This is a slide hammer tool. There's a part number. I think I got this from FCP. Yeah, I probably did. Slide hammer tool and the M156 timing tool. These are anywhere you can get these things. They're pretty much all the same. But the point of the the slide hammer tool is the heads have these two pins here and here, and these two on the other side. These actually hold the timing guides. The guides for the timing chain are here, and this just holds them in place. Pulling these out they'll drop, but it'll allow you to pull the head off. And for the timing tool, it's just to keep the cams in timing if you're doing head bolts like at the one at a time method. But we're not really going to need them right now because the cams are just coming off and they're going to go back on, and we're going to retime the whole engine. But I'll show you how to do that in another video using just these tools, these 3 pieces. This one's very important. And we're going to start getting this thing off. T30 Torx, and these are all going to get zipped off real quick. Make it work. All right, so now the valve cover is off and the cam adjuster cover is off. Now the tool, we're going to have to rotate this thing on the crank to get the tool to slide in on these lobes on the cam, and then we'll be able to undo these phaser bolts. These will come out and the adjusters will be removed. But to do this more easily, there's actually a bolt right there that you can see, this big one. That's actually the tensioner for the timing chain. So that's going to come out, and then these are going to be rotated, locked, and removed. And then we'll actually take this off, and because the gearing is right, how do I explain this easiest? That gear right there turns both of these cam adjusters, and they turn the cams. Once we're removed the cam adjusters, these are going to be free spinning. But since they're still under tension, see, this one's turned down, the lobes, this one is up. This lobe is all the way down, and it's pushing the valve buckets down. And if you try to undo these while it's still under tension, it can pop off and you can break a camshaft. That's going to be no good. So we're going to have a 27 mil wrench. We're going to slide on these, and we're going to just rotate them off of tension. There's one point where it's touching none of the lobes, then we can start undoing these cap bolts. We'll put everything organized. Everything's going to go back to the way it was once the motor gets reassembled. But that's basically an easy way of explaining it, but I'll show you as we go. So the adjusters are removed. The cam came onto its non-tension position. That's where it is right now. See, I can move it, and it's not hitting any of the buckets. And then the thing is, you want to undo these cam cap bolts in a certain fashion. I just did them the same way the head bolts bolted down. So I did this top one first, followed by this one, here, 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 and then here. And that way the cam will come off evenly. So now all these are going to be organized, and then put away. So same thing with the bottom cam. Then we're going to take the valve buckets out and then work on getting to these head bolts. Okay, so camshafts are out and all organized. Everything noted, intake, exhaust, all the caps put back in their right orientation. And now these slide hammer tools are going to get to work. This pin is going to come out, so is this one. And there's one more in here. There's another head for this one. That's going to thread in, and it'll be an M5 nut, I believe, something in there. I'm going to take a look again, double check. But that's going to come out, and then the head bolts will be undone. We're probably going to leave the valve buckets in place. These are actually new ones that I put on from FCP Euro. Not a scratch on them. Granted, they only ran for a little bit, but still very nice looking valve buckets. But this is going to come out in a minute. As soon as we get these off, then the head bolts will be in the reverse torque sequence, the same way I undid the cam. You'll see these things have 10 main head bolts, and we're going to do this according to the main bolts, not the one that's like here, or this one, or that one. It's going to be the main bolts. So we'll start, there's 10 of these. So we'll start from the outside and work our way in, because the head will essentially, it's going to bow. That's the way it's tightened down. It'll when you start tightening these things down, you'll put the middle ones down first, here, here, and then opposing here, then here, and torque these down. And that way the middle of the head will seat down, and then as you work out, it'll clamp that whole head all the way down. And that's the way this thing comes out. I mean, that's the way it goes on, comes out in reverse order. So we're gonna start from this one, loosen this, go here, cross, and then the head will be free to go. Bad boys. So they look like these are the updated head bolts. These are actually from FCP. I did these the one at a time method, but thank goodness we have a warranty. Now the way you pull them out doesn't have to be in any necessary order. They were untorqued in the reverse torque sequence. So getting them out any way you want is pretty much on the table right now. Let's see, hopefully these don't give us much trouble. They're a little bit dirty. The head bolts were particularly hard to do on this side. Now you can already, I don't know if you can hear it, but the head gasket is leaking now. As soon as this thing came off the torque. Let's see if we can't get this thing to cooperate. Damn it. Gotcha. So, head bolts are all off. Now it's time for the fun bit. I'm going to pull the head off. Pretty sure everything goes. Make sure I got all of them. You know what? Let's get a dead blow hammer on this, so we don't break anything we don't intend to. I think we're just about there. And the cracking, as you hear, is just RTV. People like to add some people are on debate about adding RTV to the stock head gasket. I know our guy Tassos doesn't do it. Probably only around the water jackets. There we go. And that's an M156 head. So there it is. That's how you pull an M156 head. We're gonna do the same process for this side, and we're gonna get this thing organized. So I'm just gonna have all the cams and whatnot propped up here, so we don't lose anything, and we should be good. Thanks.